all for coming. I'd like to officially call this meeting to order. And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
Thank you. God bless America. I would now ask for a moment of silence for our recent departed residents, friends, and neighbors here at Lakebridge. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. I would also like to ask you, we have a lot of homeowners that unfortunately are going through tough times physically. You know, people have been injured, so I'd like to keep all of our residents in our prayers. That would be greatly appreciated. Okay, we'll now do roll call.
Michael Messina,
Here.
Barbara Wills,
Here.
Mary Adler,
Not here.
Ed Whitman,
Here.
Carol Butter.
Present.
The entire board is represented. Okay, can I please have a motion for the approval of the August 15, 2023 open board meeting minutes?
I move.
I second.
We will now have a vote on the approval of the July 20th open board meeting minutes. All those in favor of approving the minutes state aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion for the approval of minutes is passed. Okay, that's the formality of the stuff. Now I can lighten up. All right, so I'd like to bring to your attention that once again, there are no motions to be dealt with at this meeting. And what that means is there's no new projects or money being spent. That's the second meeting. Trying really hard. Okay, now we go into the President's report, and I have a couple of narratives that I'd like to share with you. Things and times have changed over the years. That's not a surprise, right? To say that this is the way we always did it is no longer a good answer. That being said, it is the responsibility of the board and committees sponsored by the board to enact changes as they see fit. You guys elected us. You know, I don't know if you're all of the same mind to elect us, that's another story, but we all did that. And the board is crazy as well, let's put it that way. The board makes many decisions in real time as situations present themselves. That being said, I would like to share a quote with you from a renowned leader from history in regard to leadership. In any moment, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. So the board needs to make decisions. Why do I share this with you at the start of the meeting? Those that sit and stand before you are doing what we feel is the best thing for the community. We have assumed this responsibility. There will be residents that will agree with the board's decisions. There will be residents, of course, that will disagree with the board's decisions, and that's okay. At the end of the day, the board will still have to make decisions. As Roosevelt said, don't do nothing. If there is opposition to a board decision, every resident has within their right a way to deal with differences of opinion. A resident can utilize a concern sheet. A resident can schedule time to meet during open board hours the first Friday of each month. Not sure all of you know that. A resident can initiate a petition for consideration on whatever their and other residents' position is under the guidelines of our bylaw. If you don't like what we're doing, it is within every resident's right to start a petition on any matter. That's your right. A resident can also ask for mediation and/or arbitration. Now here is the but that relates back to my quote, and I've said this already. The board is the governing body for the HOA. The board can create committees to help in dealing with different matters. It's great to have committees because we're getting residents to tell us what's going on and what we should do. Lastly, open board meeting questions and answer sessions are designed for each resident to speak for themselves. No one has the right to speak on behalf of another resident, so you speak your concerns. So if a resident has a concern that they can utilize the processes I just described above. Okay, now, lighten up again. Okay, so at the last meeting, we gave some kudos to some of our staff, and I'd like to take time to do something here. Something happened that was good. Isn't it nice to talk about something good occasionally? Okay. So, there was a breakdown of what would have been a normal closing on a house. Long story short, a closing did not occur on time and on a particular day as it was designed. The cause of this particular event, ready for this, was that FedEx temporarily misplaced the final documents for an official closing to happen. You don't have enough problems worrying about movers, lawyers, everything else. FedEx lost the papers. How would you like to be that resident? Aye, for sure. This situation was brought to our property manager's attention, and a board member was dispatched to deal with this problem, which included having a moving truck on site, because you think you're moving, as well as the prospective owners on site, waiting. And FedEx lost the papers. Great. This board member, after checking with the new homeowner's real estate agent, remedied the situation. She helped the incoming owners out of a bad and stressful situation by finding them a storage unit locally to house their belongings, arranged for finding the incoming residents a place to stay overnight, and arranged for the moving trucks to leave Lakeridge with no further problems. The next morning, the papers got to the proper destination, and the new grateful homeowners moved into their home here at Lakeridge. This board member remedied the situation by using her inherent knowledge and changed what would have been a really bad first day at Lakeridge, really bad, and made harmony to a bad situation for our incoming residents. It was a couple actually. So this board member is not concerned for the buyer, is not concerned for the seller alone, but is concerned on setting the situation straight and making it right. Thank you, Barbara Wills. Now I go on to my usual president's report. I always like to throw in something nice if we can. Okay, so I normally report on several things, and one of the things I report on is the pool. So once again, I would like to thank the pool committee members as well as Ed for a wonderful summer season with our outdoor pool. Although maybe I'm biased, this is the cleanest the pool has ever looked, right? We didn't have one day of closure, not related to the weather, of course, and there was no lifeguard issues. We had a couple, a core of lifeguards that were pretty good compared to last year's. So that being said, we now look forward to an equally successful fall-winter season for our indoor pool. And here's where I want to give full disclosure on something. We, Lakeridge, acquired some pool technology this year that did not perform well. We bought automatic chlorinators. They did not perform well, 3 of them. Company was Hayward. Hayward is the name in pool companies, and they failed miserably. More specifically, when we purchased the 3 devices that were supposed to check chemical levels and add chlorine as necessary, they did not. Despite best efforts by our pool company, these devices were a total failure. The good news, I always like to have some good news. The good news is that all 3 of these devices were replaced with a different brand prior to the closing of the outdoor pool and are performing as they should now. So now the next question is, did that cost us anything? The conversion was accomplished with no additional cost to the HOA. The company was totally held responsible. So that's good news. So now they're performing within spec. Okay, moving on. For the indoor pool and spa, there is a lifeguard on duty 4 hours per day, 7 days a week, just as we did for the outdoor pool. Nothing has changed. There will be consistency to avoid any confusion in regard to the lifeguard hours, as well as guest and family swim time hours. Nothing has changed. Same as the outdoor pool. We don't want to create any confusion for anyone. So I want to make this very clear, I'm going to say it more than once. No lifeguard means no guests. Buddy swim rules will be in play for residents only when there is no lifeguard on duty. Again, no lifeguard on duty means no guests allowed. As a final note, the outdoor pool area is off limits to everyone from now until the pool opening next May. Although there is a cover on the pool, and although it's supposed to hold up an elephant if you've seen the ads, no one is allowed on the deck to dry off. No one is allowed to be out there at all. It's a liability. Okay, moving on. The fence project. Another slow step forward. On September 6th, our request for approval of our fence project was unanimously approved by the Toms River Planning Board. We are now in a legal 45-day holding pattern to ensure that any opposition to our plan is given opportunity to voice that concern. At the end of this legal 45-day wait, we will proceed with the plan for the fence for, again, both sides of our community as originally planned. Nothing has changed. That brings us to about October 21st for the 45-day moratorium. This will be followed up with a 2 to 4 week fence material acquisition, because we didn't pay the fence company any money yet. Why would we do that before we know we're free and clear? And then there's an approximate 3 to 4 week installation. Here's the only thing that could potentially stand in our way. The final tally of the total expenses of this project are still not calculated to date at this time, but we will make every effort to stay within budget and contingency dollars originally approved. And that's where we stand now. I feel pretty good, and I'm not a betting man. You can ask my wife. Don't do that. I'm a fact number guy. It looks like the project will come off originally as planned right this second. So there's more to come on that, but it's looking good. That takes care of my report on the fence. I have 2 other reports. One is the cladding project, and Ray will go into a little bit more detail about that. This cladding project, which is the stone on the bottom around the entire annex and clubhouse, is failing, and has been failing for several years and has not been dealt with. And generally speaking, problems don't get better with time. We had leaks coming into the building. Okay, this project will be done by KPI2 Enterprises, who won the bid process. There were more than 3 companies that submitted bids. Okay. The cost for the clubhouse, here's some numbers for you: $127,061 to redo the clubhouse, and $18,704 for the annex. There's contingency money in there of 15%, and it is estimated right now, and what we got approved by motion was $178,106.61. And it always blows my mind where there's 61 cents in it. I don't know. This project will be scheduled, and Ray will give you more of the details. Gym committee. Okay. As mentioned in the last meeting, we're starting to have problems with our treadmills. We had 4 treadmills that were purchased at the same time. 1, the motherboard went. 2 of them now, the motors are going, and it's problematic. They're 9.5 or 10 years old, something like that, right, Norm?
Right.
Norm, by the way, is the head of the committee for the gym. Okay. So it may happen a motion next month to spend money to replace. There are 3 remaining old treadmills, and we always wanted to replace the upright bike. All 4 together, one package, estimated, I'm pretty comfortable with the number, $21,500. And that will bring the gym up to speed. So you're probably going to hear that as a motion at the next meeting. And, okay, and that is the end of my president's report. And we will now move on to the vice president's report, Barbara.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. The ARC report. As of our, no?
You gotta make bigger font.
Oh, no. This is my, yes. As of our last meeting, there were 38 painting violations. To date, 32 homeowners have completed the work on their violations, and ARC wants to thank all of you who took care of their issue. There are 6 still outstanding violations. The grace period ended September 19th, and letters went out September 20th, and the fines are now in effect. ARC is updating their standards to make it more current to what residents have asked for in the past, and that'll be finishing up soon. A reminder that ARC 2024 spring campaign will begin when spring has sprung. A list of a few things will be available as the time gets closer, and any questions, ask Phil.
It's not here. Okay.
Everyone in this room has had one thing in common. Think back to the day you moved to Lakebridge. In most cases, you woke up that morning, and very early the moving trucks were there to load all your worldly goods. Your house is empty except for the items you may have left for your buyers. You have mixed feelings about leaving your home and starting a new adventure in your life. You now have to go to the closing on this home, and then to close on your new home. You meet your movers at your new home, and soon you are finding new places for all your worldly goods. Well, sometimes different things happen when you wake up that morning. The movers may be late, your closing times have changed, and things just don't work in your favor. Well, we now have a new committee called the Lakebridge Home Sales Committee. This committee is to rectify problems that have happened in the past and have never been spoken about. We had our first meeting on September 5th. We have a committee consisting of 2 broker salespersons, 2 real estate agents, and 1 attorney, all Lakebridge residents. Just this month, we had 3 meetings and accomplished quite a bit. It seems that buyers moving into Lakebridge sometimes run into issues after they're closing on their new home. We are addressing these issues as they happen. We want our new residents not to feel like they made a mistake moving here. They should feel welcome and not stressed out. So our plan is to keep everyone in the loop from when you list your home with or without a realtor here at Lakebridge until the day the new residents move in. The new residents will come into the loop when the real estate sales contract is fully executed on your home. The committee will be dealing directly with all the realtors involved, not the buyers and sellers. The board wants any and all issues concerning home sales to go through the Home Sales Committee. I am the board liaison, broker salesperson, and Phil Lucas is our chairperson attorney. As our committee addresses all issues in selling your home, you may have questions in the process, and we have an email address that you can send them to. If we get enough people who have questions and concerns, we will set up a time at the annex and have a question and answer session. We are trying to create a loop where everyone involved in selling your home knows what is going on, and this includes the HOA office, Taylor Management, ARC for any inspections outside your home before closing, all realtors, the moving trucks for the sellers and buyers, the front gate, just to name a few. This new system will take time for the committee to put this loop together, and there are a lot of parts to this loop, but once they are put in place, the sellers and buyers will hopefully have an easy closing and moving day. This committee has experienced realtors and an attorney right here on site that you can address your concerns and is confidential. Some questions or concerns you may have: how do I interview a realtor? Is New Jersey Real Estate Commission negotiable? How do I figure out what I pay in commission? How long do I have to list my house for? Can I fire my realtor? Do I see all my offers? Can I have open houses? Watch for our articles in the View. And when the new resident moves in, they will receive a survey sheet. Questions will be on there about the HOA office, your committee, the movers, all the realtors involved in the listing and the buyer's end, and more, so we can address any and all negative responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. So I just want to bring to light something. It appears, and one of the more important things, and Barbara did mention it, that new homeowners will move in and not understand our rules. And then suddenly things appear in their backyard, their front yard, that don't conform to our standards. And we had, and still have right now, some fault, we, the HOA, because the rules weren't really given out in a timely fashion before. I myself got the rules after I signed on the dotted line, and I was handed a book. Here's the rules. What rules? I didn't know. I never moved into an over 55 community. Consequently, now I'm a good citizen, okay? Consequently, I didn't have any infractions in my yard, even though Sue wanted to. But that's another story. She's a rebel. That's why I love her. Okay, but the issue here is to cut it off at the pass. The more information we get out prior to someone coming here, the less problems you have down the road. So the rules are actually online now. So if you go onto our website, if someone just said, what's this Lake Ridge, and go on, they can see the rules right now. So there's no misunderstanding once you get here. This is what we do, and that's why our community looks as well as it does. We want to keep it that way. So this, I really, really am excited about this committee, because they're going to do some great things, and they're going to remedy a lot of problems, and hopefully make people's lives a little easier. So, thank you, Barbara, thank you. Okay, so that said, we will now go on to we'll do the treasurer report. How's that? Mary?
That's me.
That's you. I just I check. Ed, we're not married, right? No.
Okay, I got good news. Okay, this statement is for 8 months ending August 31st. Our net income was $134,000, which was $113,000 better than the budget. The principal factor contributing to the favorable variance was our income was better. We had surplus from 2022 from $45,000. Remember, we had no snow this year, so that was another $45,000 went into surplus. Our income interest was better than budgeted because we did better on some of our investments. Our closing contributions, resales was $16,000 better than budget. We budgeted for the resale of 33 homes, but we actually sold 45 homes so far in 2023. Our expenses, we spent less money than the budget. So all in all, we had a good 8 months. On August 31st, our cash and investment funds totaled $3.162 million, it's too much.
3.1%.
Of which was in the replacement fund, which has a balance of approximately $2.3 million. The funds are held in the replacement fund are invested in CDs, insured by the FDIC, and U.S. Treasury notes, and money market funds, and some funds are held in cash. So all in all, we had a good 8 months. Thank you.
So, thank you, Mary. So I just want to say, we are financially sound here at Lake Ridge. And I'm gonna say, when we had our independent audit done this year, we were told by the auditors, we're in the top 2% in New Jersey, Lake Ridge, in terms of our finances. And that's not because of the board. Let me be very clear. It's because of the finance committee. The finance committee, in my estimation, is more important, because the finance committee stays while the board changes. They're the constant thread. So I tip my hat to the finance committee. Okay, so we'll now move on to the secretary report. Thank you. Ed, if you can do that.
Okay, I won't get up, I have a bad foot, so I'll just sit here. Okay, the secretary, as a secretary of the board, I serve as liaison to several of the important committees, so I'll report in sequence. First of all, with regard to the grounds committee, you may have noticed that, you probably haven't noticed, but the bare spots and the brown spots in the common lawns that were the result of a failure of irrigation to properly get those lawns watered are now gone, because we got federal irrigation to come in and clean out some of the blocked conduits and also repair broken heads. So now the lawns are looking pretty good because of the updating of the irrigation by federal irrigation. Second, the tree program to remove dead and dangerous trees is proceeding apace, and we look forward to continuing that program into next year. So if we have not yet determined exactly how much we've spent on that, but money left over from this year will be applied next year, and we will continue that tree supervision program into the future. But there is one principle we should all be reminded of, and that is that the HOA is responsible for the trees on the common, just as the individual homeowner is responsible for any branches that are growing into his airspace or roots invading, for example, up to and under the patio. So the homeowner has the responsibility to do what is necessary to keep the trees trimmed so far as they come over his property line, branches as well as roots. So that's important. I have to go around and talk to homeowners about this and explain that, the HOA really can't pay for your private property issues, and you have the right to deal with those yourself, but also the responsibility. Now, before you do go ahead and cut any of those roots, it's important to get the approval of the grounds committee, because in some cases, if you cut too much, you destabilize the tree, and that's, it requires the grounds committee to look at it and give it an approval. Okay, moving on. Outdoor sports. We're happy to report that the bocce court handrails have been, I believe, installed already, and we're looking forward to improving the drainage from the downspouts, the rain spouts, to redirect them so that they're not affecting the surfaces of the bocce courts. So that's going on. Now I come to perhaps one of the most important events, and it's both a time for celebration and a time for passing of the baton. I have the duty to inform us that Jack Cromer is retiring as editor of The Views. Jack has served very well and wonderfully for the past several years as editor of The Views, and is now going to step down. He's graciously volunteered to coach and mentor his successor. But that's the point. We need people to step up and apply for that job. It's not an easy job. It's one that requires a certain ability with words as a newspaper editor, as also a matter of negotiating with printers, layout. So anyone with similar experiences or can help in that regard, please volunteer to step forward. Jack and his associate Sharon Janowitz have done a wonderful job over the past years, and it's a very important function. When you consider that the Views is the prime organ through which we share our stories, our information, the way the board gets reports out to the community, the Views is a critical part of our activities, our life here at Lake Ridge. So please, if you've got any interest in this at all, we need you to step forward and volunteer for this. It's a very, very important job. And as I say, Jack is willing to mentor in the meantime as the transition takes place. So, well, that's the Secretary's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. A couple of things just to reinforce what Ed said. Last year, and I was kind of amazed, there were tremendous brown spots throughout the common areas, as Ed has mentioned, and all of them are working now, and it looks a world of a difference this year compared to last. Secondly, the tree program that we've been putting together, identifying dangerous trees, has been a big success. And we look to extend that because trees shouldn't be something you worry about, right? And the outdoor sports week that happened, I'd like to give some notification to my good buddy there, Rick Caruana, about the great job that he did. And lastly, I'd like to give thanks to Jack and Janet. They did a tremendous job, and as Ed said, this is going to be a big loss, and we need help with that. Whoever may have that talent set. We will now go on to the Director at Large report, Carol.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. I'm the board liaison to the Documents and Policies Committee. Bill Cohen is the chair. And recently the committee did a deep dive from 11 to 3 in trying to complete its work, which is a major overhaul where the bylaws were last modified in 2006. The committee received the revised bylaws from our lawyer, and it contains numerous changes necessitated by revised federal, state, and local government regulations, changes in practice, best practices in community associations, elimination of all references to the builder, Coates, and incorporation of all appropriate Lake Ridge approved bylaw amendments enacted since 2006. In comparing the lawyer's comments with the version that was generated by the committee, the majority of the changes in the lawyer-produced version were quickly accepted by the committee, but several major points need clarification with the lawyer before Lake Ridge agrees to accept the revised bylaws. As part of the review, the committee is producing a document of all its concerns and will discuss this with the board when completed, and then with the lawyer. According to Bill Cohen, the committee expects to complete the review in October, have final discussions with the board and lawyer in November, and then have the revised bylaws distributed to the residents by the end of December. Regarding the new bereavement support group, which finished its 8-week session last Thursday, September 14, all widows who participated seemed to benefit. Now a similar one is scheduled for widowers, the men. Additionally, anyone who's lost a child is welcome to attend the second session of 8 weeks. It runs from October 5th to November 30, from 11 to 12:15 in the small car room. I encourage you to come, where it can be beneficial. You simply show up on October 5th. There's no pre-registration. Concerning pedestrian safety and the perimeter fencing, I attended the Toms River Planning Board meeting September 6th at 6 p.m. There was some opposition from people who attended, but the fencing project was approved. Also, in the realm of safety, a resident recently told me that she was driving in Lake Ridge and suddenly slammed on her brakes when she almost ran over a dog. She got out of her car and saw that the dog was okay, but it was on an extend lead, and its owner was standing in his driveway. That's not control. Do read the written rule on page 20 in the art booklet. I always go by rules, not people's opinions. Page 20. We're looking into automatically scanning the license plates of visitors. There are different types of scanners, but you want it automatically done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Just a point of clarification. After the bylaws are looked at, they go to vote to all the residents. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is where I always get myself in trouble. I don't even know what the process is. I'm only on the board 16 months. I know a vote has to be had. There'll be more information at the next meeting about how that happens. But the bylaws just don't change on their own by the board. Doesn't happen that way. It gets voted on by the community. Okay, I now ask Ray to give the manager's report. He has a lot of information on a lot of different things. Ray?
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone. It is going to be a little lengthy. I'll try and breeze through it as much as I can. We have been working, picking up and soliciting service proposal updates for the year, next 2 years, from all of our contractors and vendors on site, especially looking at trying to get multiple contractors on each line. We found that there's some new contractors out there that can offer better service, streamlined service, updated service. So it has been a lengthy process, and hoping to have all that together when we meet with the Finance Committee next week. One thing I did want to bring up regarding the increase of prices or solicitations for next year is one that completely blindsided us, and that was with Stouts Transportation. They provide the bus service, shuttle service here for some people, and from what I'm told, there's a regular standing 8 to 10 people who use this religiously, this transportation. They go to break the Toms River, to the malls, to the shopping centers, usually twice a month to each facility. When they came in on the previous contract, and just to give you a rough number, the association was paying $2,200 a month for the service. On their last invoice or proposal that I got for the upcoming year, it was increased to $4,800 a month, which was double the amount. The excuse there is that with gas prices, insurance, personnel costs, they had to increase their prices. What we're looking also could be another explanation is right now they're the only game in town, which makes it very tough. So next Tuesday, call the meeting together with the residents that do use this bus. We've gone out to Ocean Ride with the township. They offer a service, although we would have to figure out how to compensate that. We're working with them. They did offer a lower price to Lake Ridge residents, but the whole process would be different. They wouldn't be picking up here, they'd be picking up at the house. Also, we're looking at revising the schedule, where it usually goes maybe to the mall twice a month. What would Stouts charge to go once a month? I mean, there's a lot of considerations to take here. The fact that they are the only company here that offer that service is a problem. The other thing is that service is offered in the public offering statement. It's something that offered each and every resident in this community, and it's something that the board has to honor and consider. So between the board, the finance committee, and what we're looking for, that's a priority right now, and it's something hope we can get a favorable outcome of. Maintenance updates, just to give you a little bit of what's going on. The lobby ceiling, we had a leak in there. It was nothing mechanical. We just had Brick HVAC do some work up there. What had happened though was when moving things around, there is a condensation drain, a little drain pipe that was moved off the pan a little bit. There was a little bit of a drip. Did not do any extensive damage. Tyler got up there and cleaned it, painted. There's another coat of kills we have to put up there, but it was no major damage or any kind of instrumentation found. Freezer doors, I know it was reported last month, David did find a contractor to come in here to work and repair on the freezer door. Unfortunately, the repair was not, did not hold up as much as we wanted. We went out and David got some bids from other local vendors or contractors, and the price is exorbitant. But I have to admit, David and Mike were in there the other day, and they came up with a solution where the door was switched from one of the refrigerators to the freezer that will lock. So the concerns over locking the food in the refrigerator will be taken care of, and that one refrigerator door is never locked. So we have a fix there until, God forbid, the door actually falls off. They did a good job, and David and Mike, they deserve accommodation on that. Lake fountain repairs, we had to shut off the fountain about a week ago. Liz and I were walking out one night and we heard the fountain laboring, the water was strained coming in and out, which usually indicates that there's a clog. Whether it's with fishing line, bag debris, anything, could be vegetation on the bottom. We had it turned off so we didn't burn out the new motor on the new fountain that was just installed. And Great Blue is coming out today to take care of that concern. Hopefully we'll get that taken care of. Hopefully we'll have the lights back on and everything else. Hopefully everything will be worked for the repairs that we paid for. We're keeping an eye on that. We had a request from Rick with tennis court repairs. There's some complaints or some cracks in the surface of the tennis courts. When we went back and looked, these courts were repaired back in 2022 by a vendor. Reached out to them. It may be a typo on their order and proposal from last year. It either reads 1-year warranty or an 11-year warranty.
Take a look.
Yeah, either way, we got them. So we're trying to get them out here, and we'll get Rick and Dave to get out there, take a look at this, and see if these repairs can be handled under warranty. And I have to apologize, I may have overloaded Ed with some information before. The bocce railings were approved by the board last meeting. A new vendor, so we had to wait to get their insurance paperwork W-9 in, but they are fabricating the railings for the bocce courts now. They have not been installed yet. But we did have repairs done to the bocce court buildings and the gutters. They replaced the gutters on the buildings, relocated downspouts to drain out into the grass area, repaired some hanging soffit on one of the buildings, replaced the cracked 2x10 board. They repaired soffit fascia on the garage building, and that was all completed a week and a half ago. So I apologize, that kind of screwed that up in his report there, and that's probably my fault there. Pool closure. Mike already alluded to that. American Pool did cover the pool. They applied the winterized chemicals, so that's gonna sit until next spring. We of course have to move and store the furniture, but aside from that, there are repairs that still need to be done. We have to lower next spring, it'll be scheduled for, and whoever the pool contractor is will be required to make those repairs. The pool water level had to be lowered so we can fix the lighting. We have some decking repair, caulking that have to be done, but that'll be all scheduled and worked out with next spring. We also have standing work orders with the pool company. There are some leaks and concerns in the pool room, pump room we want to take care of, and they haven't been done yet because I know Ed comes in every morning to let me know we still have problems. So are getting them, they're just a little slow in responding. They did have a construction member over there the other day, so hopefully we'll have that cleaned up soon. As Carol mentioned, the RFID project and committee are working. They have bids to look at for the entry systems, and that is still ongoing. We have been conducting maintenance interviews for a on-site maintenance person. Not that there's anything wrong with the work that Elvis is doing. He's been very congenial. He's been doing a good job. But again, when we lost Felipe bringing in this contract company, it did raise the monthly premium at a budget to what we were looking at. So the finance committee and the board has asked that we look to see if we can get any direct hires. We have had one in there and we continue to look. There were some instances where Elvis had called out and the janitorial company was supposed to supply a replacement. Unfortunately, they need to be notified before 7:30 because 99% of their employees work at the hospitals and medical facilities. They're a priority. So they had nobody to come in and replace Elvis on those days. We have been compensated for that on the last 3 months of invoices that we've gone through. We do monitor what's going on, and they are definitely looking to have somebody on site in case, God forbid, something happens where he calls out sick again. We will have an immediate replacement for that position. The canopy, the previous company, Canopy, that was never delivered with Coastal. Just an update that Joe Coronado, the one attorney, did file a complaint to the courts for Lake Ridge. The courts have awarded a judgment against Coastal for Lake Ridge. We are just waiting for Coastal to come back with their response to this judgment and any other court enforcement. The cladding project, we did meet 2 weeks ago to get things started with KPI 2. We had cut above out there, as Jeff is going to have to remove and replant a lot of the shrubbery around both buildings, so we did a walkthrough with cut above. Federal irrigation had somebody out there to make sure we would not be interfering with any of the existing irrigation lines. We did have a markout come out to look at to make sure that we were okay out there. And the permits were submitted by KPI to the township. Once we get that back, we'll be able to nail down a good start date. We're hoping to combat the weather because we do need a certain temperature line there to make sure that everything is applied correctly. Yeah. So, we're 40 degrees, so we're hoping to get that in line as well. The board did pick out some of the style for the stone cladding for the clubhouse and the vinyl replacements as well. Let me just, I have an update on our asphalt project. The paving project is due to start Monday. If you notice, we've been cleaning up around here with David and Tyler painting the stop lines around. They will be continuing, they've done it around the clubhouse, they're continuing to do that out in the community. But Rothberg will be here Monday to start their project. What they are doing, and in consideration for the holidays, they are planning to have their foreman start with catch basin repairs and exchanging the heads and any curb repairs starting next Tuesday, the 26th. Providing they don't have any rain between today and next Monday, that should work out. They are looking, and we have a colored map to show where they're going to be working at, what days they're going to be working at. It'll be available for the homeowners at the office after the meeting. But the tentative start dates are Fieldcrest Lane, October 4th and 5th, Springwater Court, Roseville Court, the 6th and 7th, Rock Hill Lane, Danbury Lane, October 8th and 9th. Lennox Street from Curley to Circle, October 10th and 11th. Lennox Street from Circle to Morningdale, 10/12 to 10/13. So what they're looking at, weather permitting, a good 2-week project. They will have traffic control, they will have everybody out here, they have a retired policeman in the golf cart out there, they'll be providing the traffic control and be taking care of any homeowner needs in the meantime. So we'll keep up with the updates. As I said, if anybody needs a colored map with the dates, we can have it available for you at the office itself. Going back to my list. I believe that's all I had. We had no resident. Huh?
It's enough.
Well, I have one more. And it's still near and dear to my heart. We had one comment, not a question, that came in from the residents when we request questions to come in. And it was a repeat concern about the upside down American flag that's being displayed in the community. As I mentioned before, when we got this complaint, we did run it by the association attorney. And as much as it disgusts a lot of us, there is no enforcement that we can have. I mean, we're living in a country where burning the American flag is a sign of freedom of speech. But there is no set resolution to that. We've even gone out of our way to ask them to meet this person. They will not meet with us. We've asked them on several occasions, well, can you at least invert the flag to the proper stance during a holiday, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and that met with negative response. So the resident did want me to have this addressed. There's been no change in policy or rules on the display of the American flag. With our bylaws, it just says that the American flag is the only flag that can be displayed. And Mike brought up a good point during our pre-meeting. You know, you have the original 13th colony flag. Is that an American flag? Is that a decorative flag? They still do not designate between decorative or not. And I had one complaint in the last 2 weeks from a resident who thinks it's a disgrace that somebody is flying the American flag with the blue line in there. Now the blue line is for respect for the policemen. We have ones out there, red lines, which are firemen, and green for who are emergency personnel. This resident complains that this is a disgrace, this is not an American flag. According to the stipulations that we go by right now, that is an American flag. But it's also honoring our service personnel, the police and emergency personnel. There are no steps right now to change any of that. I'm in constant contact with the attorney. We're looking at regulations and seeing if there's any change in that, especially address the upside down flag. But I just wanted to bring that up, that it's something that's it's a hot potato issue, and we're keeping an eye on it. And thankfully, that's all I have. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, okay. He forgot one thing. No. It's a reminder that bulk pickup is scheduled for Friday, September 29th. All items must be at the curb by 6:30 a.m. Put it out the night before sleep. There'll be 2 pickup runs, one for bulky household items, one for metal. Okay, that'll be one. That's it? Okay. All right, so a couple of things. So we mentioned about the bus service for our residents. And again, trying to show getting the residents involved, we are meeting with the people that utilize the bus service. We're trying to find an amicable solution without spending a ton of money. The second thing, I'm amazed at how much stuff goes on here on a daily basis. Ray's report is just an example. This is like a small town with everything that's going on. I'd like to, give some kudos to Ray for keeping up with everything. A third common theme that I'd like to share is we're demonstrating keeping all the amenities up to snuff. That's what makes Lake Ridge superior to most places. So we have concentrated on that. Fourth thing that I heard when Ray was talking, again, I'm amazed at all this stuff. There's 163 bushes that have to be ripped out around the clubhouse and annex to do the cladding job. 163. Not that I counted them, but we did. It's a very involved process. Let's see, number 5. Tyler is out, as was mentioned, painting the stripes where people should stop.
Yes.
We're also, and this is something I didn't share at the pre-meeting, I've been in another community where they have a small line, a slightly bigger line, a slightly bigger line, and then it says 25 miles per hour. It's a stencil. I'm gonna reach out to that. I will try to find that stencil. Maybe we need to put some out there. It's a common theme that people say, how do we stop the speeding? Right? It is a concern. So there's other things being looked at. Speeding. 6. Ray mentioned, and I wanted to go on record, this is being taped, as you know. Write-in questions if you can't make it to a board meeting, because we're getting ready to go to the question and answer period. You can write in questions. Ray will have them, and Ray will speak to them on behalf of the resident. Again, trying to get residents involved. And I think that's it. Okay, so we will now conduct the close of the business, which starts off by saying, may I have a motion by someone on the board to complete the business portion of the meeting?
I make a motion to close the meeting.
I second.
We have a second. All in favor to close the meeting, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are none. The ayes have it. The meeting is now closed. We will now start